Ladies and gentlemen, here we are again. My name is Kotso Mokoena, the Croc, chairperson of the Athletes Commission and Olympic medalist. Welcome to the fourth episode of the Athlete Talk, where we touch down on all athlete, sports people centric conversations. Today, it's a special show. We have Tim Drummond, South African national hockey team player, and also a midfielder for the Dutch club called Klein Switzerland. Klein Switzerland. Did I say that correct, Tim?
100% correct, Paul.
Fantastic. Welcome to the show, Tim. And also, we also have Ashley, another experienced athlete here with us, who is a professional female bicycle racer, was also at the 2012 London Games, just like Tim. Ashley, welcome to the channel.
Thank you.
Lovely. So, Ashley, I want to kick it off with you today. How does it feel to go represent your team once again at the Tokyo Summer Olympic Games yet again?
Yeah, it's really amazing. Tokyo will be my third Olympic Games. It's really special that it's actually happening because I think there was a lot of doubt around the Olympic Games with the COVID pandemic. So I'm just really grateful that we are able to go again. And I think, with the experience that I have, having had two Olympic Games behind me now, I really feel that, I'm in a good position to really make my country proud.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think also you just mentioned a great statement by saying that, in 2020, we weren't sure if it was going to happen at all because of the pandemic. But here we are a couple of weeks away. So Ashley, you are now based in Spain for your altitude training as well as camping over there. Tell us, how has that been going and why Spain?
Well, the reality is that cycling competition at the highest level happens in Europe. So all the most important races are in Europe. So it is important to be based in Europe to be able to compete at the highest level and just to continue to improve so that I can really stand a good chance of going for an Olympic medal. So I live in Spain pretty much all year round now. Hopefully I'll be back in South Africa in October because I'm missing South Africa, but it is more or less my home at the moment. And I've just come back actually from altitude training in the Pyrenees, actually in the French Pyrenees, but it's very close to Spain. So some days I was also training in Spain. And that was a big sort of training camp at altitude to prepare for Tokyo. And tomorrow I head to Italy to race the Giro, which starts this Friday, and it will be a really important preparation race for me, the last international race before I head off to Japan.
Fantastic. You speak about your altitude training, with the track and field, there's a lot of South African athletes who go to Kenya for altitude training. Does it work the same? Is it all about the oxygen and having that longevity during the race?
Yeah, so the point of altitude training is to kind of put the body under pressure, starve it of oxygen so that we make more red blood cells. It's a natural way of improving performance, and so it's very much the same whether you're a cyclist or a runner. It has the same effect. And I must say one day I do need to head out to Kenya or Ethiopia to do altitude there because I'm sure it's really beautiful. I had an amazing experience in Eritrea once before. There's also great altitude in Eritrea. Hopefully one day I can head to one of those African countries.
Fantastic. I wonder if Tim can actually benefit from altitude training. I wonder if it works the same with a team sport like hockey. Tim, let's talk to you about your expectation and experience for the coming games. Firstly, you have experienced how vibrant the games were back in 2012 and the energy all around it, and without any restrictions whatsoever. How do you think the COVID pandemic restrictions will impact on the team collaboration with your own teammates when you have to be so careful all the time? Will this have some negative impact on the team sport?
Yeah, as you both know, London was an incredible event, and it was very special to be a part of such an event where everything was so well organized, and it was one of those typical Olympics where the adrenaline was high throughout the games. But I'm sure for those athletes who have been to many Olympics, this one is going to be even different for them because of the COVID situation, and the rules and protocols are going to be in place is going to be different for every athlete. So we're getting pretty used to the testing situation, so with the swabs and the protocols. So yeah, I think as SA hockey players, we're used to quite a few disruptions, and we adapt quite quickly to certain circumstances. So we're hoping that it's going to be a really positive games for us. We've got our expectations in place, and we're doing our best we can with the preparation we've had, which has obviously been quite disruptive. And we are in a slightly different environment to Ashley at the moment. So our pitch was frosted over this morning here in Potch. So we had no training, but we still got a little bit of altitude here in Potch, and we're doing the best we can. It's been great to be together for a good 12 days now. We've got 3 days left of this training camp and then a break before we fly out. And yeah, everyone is extremely excited and looking forward to this game, which is going to be a unique game for everyone.
Oh, fantastic. So you're saying at the moment you are at the training camp with your teammates in Potchefstroom?
Yes, that's correct. So if my roommate comes in, I apologize for that. But we've been here for, like I said, for the past 12 days, and we haven't actually been together for a good year and a half due to the restrictions and COVID. But we've had many Zoom calls, and it's actually been hugely positive for us on the off the field, on the culture side of things, and we've really got to understand our teammates in depth, which we think will add great value when we get to a tournament and we go through some tough moments. We can really understand each other and trust each other in those times.
Yeah. And anyway, Potchefstroom is like almost, I think, 2,000 meters above altitude almost, or something like that. It's also a great place to have training there. You mentioned that it was quite tough to be together as a team. I mean, you're saying that you guys are together now you haven't been together for almost a year. So how was training in 2020? How did you handle the training as a team? How was it? How difficult was that?
Yeah, sorry, just to go back on that, we're in Potchefstroom. We've been very fortunate with the Northwest University, who have supported us with the facilities and allowed us to train and play here and be together. We're staying in the Astra Villas, which is right on the campus of the AstroTurf. So yeah, such a privilege that we can just walk to the training facility and we're in our own little bubble. So that's been, we've been very fortunate for that. And going back to your question about 2020, it was a fascinating year, but we did a lot of home workouts. We did many Zoom calls. So pretty similar to everyone around the world, but yeah, we made best of what we could do with the situation. And like I said previously, culturally, I think we in a far better position than we were in 2019, and we didn't take any of those Zoom calls for granted. And it was really special just to stay connected once a week or sometimes twice a week. And yeah, it's been amazing to just understand the guys' stories and where each other comes from, because we have almost half our group playing and training and living in Europe, and then the other half are in South Africa. So to come together is always special, and we try and maximize every minute we have together as a group.
Fantastic. I guess the good thing with the pandemic was that I think the relationships got a little bit better with everyone, because you have to always be somehow online with the coaches or with the teammates. Mm-hmm. I think that strengthened the bond a little bit. Ashley, how are the restrictions down in Spain, which you are based in now? Have they been so hectic that they were in South Africa in 2020? It was really hard for us. So how was it on that side?
Yeah, 2020 was a really tough year. I think, Italy was really the first country in Europe to be hit really hard by the pandemic, and then Spain was the next. So we had a really strict lockdown in March going into April. It lasted for, I think, 6 weeks, where we were literally not allowed out of our homes unless you were going to the shops to buy food. So yeah, it was a massive challenge to overcome. I mean, cycling is a sport that we generally do outdoors, and we thrive outdoors. And so I had to really adapt and include indoor training or virtual cycling into my training program. It was quite a hard adjustment in the beginning, because I'm really the type of athlete that chases numbers. I really like numbers, and so outdoors when I do my intervals, I'm always trying to get my best numbers. And indoor training is different. It's more challenging to get those same numbers. So in the beginning, I really had to dig deep mentally to get through that. But I was really proud of the way that I managed to embrace the adversity and actually to turn it into opportunity. So through the COVID pandemic, I really started to embrace the virtual cycling, and I became actually really dominant in the virtual world, and then ended up winning a world title in esports, which is a brand new discipline as a result of the COVID pandemic. So I think that it was a tough year, but I grew a lot as an athlete and a person during that year. I had to overcome a lot of challenges, as many people did, and I think that puts me in a better mental space now, and just a stronger athlete mentally to go to the Tokyo Olympic Games.
Fantastic. Let's touch a little bit about that virtual races that we're talking about. I think they were called, what are they called? The Zwift League?
Yeah, so Zwift is one of the virtual platforms that we train on, and it's I think the most advanced. So most of the racing happens on Zwift, so they have their own leagues, which are called, the top league on Zwift is called the Premier League, but they also held a couple of professional races for the road cyclists. So like there was a virtual Tour de France, and then at the end of the year a World Championships. So yeah, it's a new discipline that just resulted out of the COVID pandemic. But yeah, I think it's quite an exciting discipline, and especially for a country like South Africa, I think it could play a really important role in the development of South African talent, because there's no denying the fact that safety on our roads can be an issue, especially for women. So I think virtual cycling and esports is a great platform and opportunity for the development of women's cycling, especially in South Africa. And and just there's massive barriers, for South African cyclists to compete in Europe because of visa issues. So I'm hoping that esports can also help South African riders to be noticed, while they're still in South Africa, to be noticed by European teams.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think you've mentioned really great points regarding our cycling conditions on the road in South Africa. So this will play a huge major role, and it will help and benefit the sporting code a lot. So has it helped you a lot in terms of your preparation for Tokyo, the virtual races?
Yeah, so I mean, training indoors is different to outdoors. It is actually just that much tougher because it's an unnatural resistance. So, it really makes you develop your power, and so as a cyclist, I'm a climber. So I have a good power to weight ratio. So my brute power is not necessarily my biggest strength. It's the combination of lightweight and power. So training indoors did challenge me to really work on power. It's almost like doing gym work on the bike. So for sure, it's benefited me, and it's helped me to become a more powerful cyclist. But yeah, more recently, of course, I've been focusing on training outdoors and racing, obviously in the real world, because that's what Tokyo will involve. But yeah, I've definitely grown in strength as a result of virtual cycling.
Fantastic. That is great news to know. I think that's wonderful that these platforms are also assisting you to prepare for Tokyo. Tim, have you had any matches yet in the past few weeks, since the lockdown was a little bit easier and a lot of team sports were allowed to play? Have you guys had any strong field just to prepare?
Yes, we played against our under-21 side. So the South African under-21 side had a training camp in Potch as well. We played 4 games against them, and it was just great to play matches again against any opposition. And we've had now 3 games against a Northwest University side, combined with the guys in our squad who aren't in the final 16 that go to Tokyo. So yeah, it's been really good to play those 8 matches, and we've got 1 to go tomorrow, and then 2 more days of training, and that will be it until we go to Tokyo. We will play 3 more practice matches before our first game against Great Britain.
Fantastic. And then Tim, how important is it that hockey has qualified now for these Olympic Games? having to miss the Rio Olympic Games due to the selection policies. Do you think this is a new positive direction to continue to build the hockey franchise of this country?
I do. I think it's incredibly important for hockey to feature at the Olympics in both the men's and the women's games. It's the pinnacle of our sport, and it's something that really goes a lot towards the world rankings. Gets huge ranking points at the Olympic Games, and we know there's so much at stake with regards to the future growth of hockey in our country. And when young hockey players in South Africa see their men's and ladies side at the Olympics, it really does give them a lot of hope and aspiration to play hockey. And hockey is one of the biggest sports in our schools in South Africa. So it's fundamentally important that we attend any Olympics or World Cup or Commonwealth Games, and we've got that responsibility this year to try and do something which the men's team hasn't done before in terms of a result, and we're really looking forward to taking on that responsibility.
Fantastic. I think you've just mentioned that it's a sport that is growing, especially in schools, and I really do feel that it is such a big motivation that the teams are going to the Tokyo Olympic Games. It's such a huge motivation. So this is a fantastic thing. But now let's touch a little bit about the vaccinations. I just want to know from the both of you, have you guys been vaccinated yet? Tim?
I haven't, because I've been living in Europe, so I missed my vaccination date. I've just been trying to get one here in South Africa before I fly out.
Okay. Do you think it's important to be vaccinated, or is that a personal opinion in terms of this COVID thing?
I think it is. I think if you can limit your risk as much as possible, and the vaccination is one of those options that will allow you to keep training and keep performing without getting any diseases or viruses, then I would fully support it, especially coming from a background where my father's in the medical world and some of my friends. So, I would support it.
Fantastic. And Ashley, have you been vaccinated yet?
I haven't been vaccinated, and I was given the opportunity. SASCOC did arrange a vaccination for me here in Spain, but I turned it down. And the reason why I turned it down has to do with the fact that I'm concerned around the lack of evidence around how it affects women, especially in terms of reproduction. Right. The reality is, I won't have children, and I'm already in the high risk zone because I'm in my mid-30s. So I just don't want to take any chances when it comes to that. So I agree with the vaccination. I think it is important, but it's a personal decision that I've turned it down. And it's not a requirement to have the vaccination to go to Tokyo. And the only other thing I would say is that I actually have had COVID, last year. So I hope I have immunity towards it, but if not, I will be taking all the necessary precautions, in terms of wearing masks, washing hands, and of course we will be tested daily in the village, from what I understand. So that's my position.
Yeah, I think you've actually said something quite important, that all the athletes should also know that it's a personal choice, but also it's also very important to know, maybe to consult with the doctor. It's not forced to the athletes. I think the IOC also have mentioned that it's not a must, it's not a force. I mean, and also it's very important to know the right information for yourself before you go and take it. So I think that's you've actually said something important to many athletes that will be listening to this and understand that it's not something that's been forced. So thank you so much for that. I was vaccinated. My experience with that is 6 hours after the vaccination, I got like crazy fever. Like I was shivering for like 2 days. I was really shivering. I thought I was going to turn into a zombie or something. It was really hectic. I've never felt so sick. Well, I got sick after the injection. I've never felt so sick in my entire life. But, after the vaccination, like for 2 days, I was really out. I was totally out. But the third and the fourth day, I was starting to feel better and better. But I mean, it was also a choice that I personal choice that I made, just like those other guys like yourself make the personal choice not to go for it. But I really wanted to experience what it does. And yeah, 2 days, I lost 2 days without training. But if anyone is going to go for the vaccination, I would advise that they go early enough. You know, you don't want to have these fevers or these kind of things before your competitions. But yeah, we've come to the end of the show. So I would like to hear what Tim has to say to the guys that are going to the games, and any sort of motivation to them.
Yeah, firstly, just to really soak it up and enjoy it. Everyone has, I'm sure, put the preparation in, and everyone's outcome is to really make South Africa proud and to do their families proud. So there is a lot of pressure on every athlete. I think none so more from themselves, but to know that, yeah, they will go there to give of their best and really, make themselves proud is something that will be a huge achievement in the first place. Whether Ashley ends up on the podium or we get a medal, that is unknown, but we're going to make sure we give it everything we've got to try and achieve something special. And yeah, we don't get these opportunities many times in life, and yeah, we've got to make sure we just take full advantage and be grateful for this opportunity that we can attend an Olympic Games.
Absolutely. Ashley?
Yeah, I mean, I think Tim has said things so well, but I suppose from my perspective, you know, for me, I really believe that the Olympic Games is very much about inspiring others, you know, inspiring the next generation, or just inspiring people out there, you know, to overcome a personal challenge, or just to get the best out of themselves in their own walks of life. So I think that's important for the athletes to remember, is that, of course, medals are amazing, and we all strive to win a medal. But the most important thing is to inspire others through your race or through your performance, you know. And so to go out there and to perform with courage and to the best of your ability, and that will make South Africa proud.
Absolutely, absolutely. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Drummond and Ashley Pasio, thank you so much for tuning in on our 4th episode. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this with me. Really appreciate it. And thank you for sparing a bit of your time on a Sunday. And I wish you the best for the coming few weeks, you know, just before the bell hits. So all the best, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kosto. Thanks, Ashley. See you in Tokyo.
And see you in Tokyo.
All the best. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.